It's recording.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 10:07. Can we get a roll call?
Sure. Chairman Johnson,
Here.
Mr. Simpson,
Here.
Mr. Bodines,
Here.
Ms. Brown,
Here.
and Mr. Hayes.
Here.
All accounted for.
Sorry, guys, I'm struggling really bad. I'm getting really bad feedback. So I'm just gonna log off and I'll be on the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, am I here?
Yep.
All right, sorry about that, everybody. So it sounds like everybody's present. Can I get a approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll support it.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to the prior minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I read the prior minutes last night, and I believe there's a typographical error on page 3 where it says the meeting was adjourned at 11:44 a.m. That would have made an hour and 44-minute meeting, and I just don't remember it lasting that long, so I went offline with Pam. Pam, do you want to say what you found?
Yes, I wrote it on the notes as 11 as well. So I was just rushing my day along, so I apologize. Just typoed it.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we change the minutes on page 3 to reflect that we adjourned at 10:44 a.m. and not at 11:44 a.m.
Okay. So, do I get a second for that?
This is Harold. I'll second it.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. How about the financial report? I thought I seen Gary there.
Yeah, I'm here. I apologize. I'm doing 2 meetings at the same time. This is quite the challenge. But I sent notes sometime a couple of days ago, I guess. I'm not sure what today is, but so those notes pretty much explained it. Really, everything's in good shape. I'm not really overly concerned. Electricity is running a little bit higher than what we budgeted, but it's not too far off. And natural gas is below budget, so I'm hoping between the two they will kind of even themselves out. Trucked wastewater is still coming in strong. I don't know, Mark, if you have any indication how much longer that will last, but that, as we saw last year and this year, that's been a good thing for the budget and the owner municipalities. Other than that, I apologize for the brevity, but from everything I can see, unless Mark knows something coming down the pike I don't know about, I think we're in good shape for this time of year.
I just got a couple comments. The trucked wastewater, I don't anticipate it changing. We basically have We Energies, LS&I, and Fabic. And unless they go somewhere else, we should continue to see that revenue. And we'll definitely be seeing We Energies, because the trucking costs for them would be pretty expensive. The other comment, as far as the electric goes, what I've been seeing on the bills lately is a lot to do with that relay we have. When that thing trips, we get hit with a demand charge. So the more times that thing trips, I've seen the bills kind of going up a little bit based off of that. So we can talk about that relay.
Can I ask you? I have a question on the demand charges. Is every time that occurs, you get a demand charge, or do you get one? Demand
Honestly,
charge
I'm not entirely sure how that works. It's like a metered cost. So when we hit that the relay kicks out. I don't know if it's a time thing of how long we are running at the higher demand is kind of the way I think it works. But I can
So I'm
look into
not-
that with BLP.
I'm not really concerned about that so much as how many times will they assess demand charge once a month, or do they assess it every time it happens?
No, Harold, I think it's based off of how much time we are at the higher demand. I think if you just hit it once, like Lenny and Brad know full well, if you hit it really twice, they're going to stick you with this demand charge and you're stuck with it. You're paying for it, whether you hit it again or not. So we're paying that. And then also, if you're at that higher demand, it's a charge.
So the answer is that we get assessed once a month with a demand charge, no matter what, pretty much.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's always the same, right? The demand charge.
Well, yeah, I think that I'd have to go back through the bills, Harold, to see exactly, because I don't think we've had a month where it was just that demand charge. I've seen the demand charges on some of our lift stations before, and it was a set amount. And then if you hit it, it goes up. Then it's just metered. I think Lenny and Brad might be able to speak a little bit better than me on that.
Once you hit that demand, then they just kick you up into the next rate category, and you start paying more for the power for that month then. So you get assessed.
Okay, so I
think you go up into the next rate level.
Okay, we're set up, I think, a little bit different on that. But I'll have to talk to BLP on that. And I've been working with BLP on this relay. This relay has caused us a lot of headaches. And they had come down at our request. We had asked them to come down and try to help us, see if we can make this thing less sensitive. And this is a piece of equipment that they demanded at the 11th hour on this project. We didn't think we were going to have to put it in. So they came down, they downloaded all kinds of information from it onto their laptop. They had it set here for a day or whatever it was. They took that and they have an engineer they have that they pay to review all that, any kind of stuff with their relays and stuff. So he finally took a look at it and they got back to me this week. And what they're telling me, we're seeing most of these trips on the plant side, and that the way this relay is set up, it's pretty narrow on the plant side. So it's tripping anytime we have any sort of imbalance within the treatment plant. And our manufacturer, the engines themselves have their own relay, so they're protected. So there really is no need for that. So I'm working with BLP, their engineer. I'm going to have to work with Eaton, the manufacturer of this relay. I'm going to have Kraft there just to help us out. And I'm thinking I'm going to work with Donahue and see if I can get their electrical engineer and get this thing straightened out so we don't have as many trips. And that should help with the electric bill and callouts.
But the demand charge probably won't change, right? I mean, that's going to be pretty much.
Yeah, let me investigate that, and I'll talk to BLP exactly how that bill works. Their billing.
So from my experience with the demand charge, once you get that fixed, if you get it fixed, you can call them back and let them know what you did, show them proof that you did it, and then they will reset you and
to the old
kind of reset you. But if you hit that demand charge or that power charge again, the demand, then you will be billed again for the demand charge.
Okay.
I noticed that those 3 bills that you gave us a couple of months ago, or maybe it was last month, the demand charge changed a little bit. It's like 1 month it's 6,100, next month it was 6,200, and then the month after that it was 5,300 or something like that. So it does vary a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Around 6,000
It
per
will
month.
vary. It will vary, Harold, depending on how much power you're using under that demand.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, so if you hit a certain percentage above that, then you even go up to a higher category. But once you're at that category, you don't come down unless it's for, I think it's a year, you stay underneath that, then they'll bump you back down. But if you go over at one time, bam, you're back up for at least another year.
All right. I think on their website they have, they explain their billing. So I'm going to go on the website, see if I can find out what's going on. with that. Just
I'll call them also.
Okay. All right, that's all I had on that.
Okay.
Question?
Oh.
Does this reflect the really cold weather we had for about 3 weeks? Because there was a stretch there where it didn't get above 0 morning and night for about 3 weeks. And I was wondering if the power demand went up during that time.
Well, yeah, I guess the simple answer is no. But obviously, we did use more power when it's colder like that because our boilers are running more, the pumps are running more to heat the plant. But it's pretty, I don't want to say it's minimal, but that's not what we're seeing here with the electric bills.
That's all I had.
Okay, was there anything else on the financial report? Hearing nothing, let's move on. Or do we have to accept that, or?
Actually, we've done it both ways, Brad. We've approved the.
Normally I just
the
present it
expense report.
and it's just gone.
Okay,
There's been a few times when it was approved, but really you don't need to do that. You can just go on if you want. It's up to you.
All right. We'll just move on then. I like that. Let's go on to the solids handling project.
I guess the latest update, we're working on getting the final pricing, getting all the paperwork ready to go to the state. And I think the biggest decisions that were made since the last time we met, we were looking at reusing our Vector pad lift station to take all the water from the new solids handling building. So we could save a bunch of money and not have to put a new lift station in. We were hoping that the pipe running from that Vector pad into the building was in good enough shape that we could use it. As we've investigated it further, I think it makes sense that we don't want to take the chance of not replacing that piping and then finding out that it's a problem. So we decided to go ahead and replace that. So unfortunately, it's in an area that's not being disturbed, so there's going to be some added costs there, but I think it's the right thing to do. The other thing was our waste gas flare. In order to save a little bit of money, we were going to move it. It was put in the 2008 project, excuse me. And we were just going to update the components in it that should be updated according to the manufacturer. But the cost for those components are like $23,000. And just to buy a whole new one is $39,000. So that'll also help on the construction, tying everything in and having our gas system down will be minimized by just going with a new one. The good news is we are going to be able to use the alternate foundation system for the storage area. So we're going to see some savings there. That was looking like a $600,000 added cost. So it's still going to be expensive, more expensive than we thought, but it should be a little bit better. Maybe $150,000, $200,000 in savings. And that's about it. We're just slowly getting to the point. We're hoping to be able to put this out for bids sometime in May, towards the end of May. The bids would be due in July.
Okay. Thank you for that. Is Dan with us to give the operations report?
He is not. He's in a meeting right now. So I told him I could give the operations report if he didn't get back in time.
Okay.
So for the month, we had no permit violations. We're still working under the COVID plan. The good news is we've had 6 employees now in our staff between the water and wastewater plants that have been vaccinated. So that's a promising step. We're still gathering samples for COVID testing for Michigan Tech. The NMU program started up again. They had a little bit extra money, and now I think we just finished that up. JCI was on site to inspect all 4 of our boilers, annual inspections. We had a leaking sodium hypochlorite feed line for one of the chlorine tanks that was repaired. We had the sewer crew here from the city televise that line from our lift station I was talking about, the Vector pad lift station, to see what kind of shape it was in. That was a big help for us. And what we did a little bit differently this year with our cake storage area, because that material moves and we weren't able to hold as much as we hoped we could in there, we took those concrete blocks that we had down here at the plant and kind of used them as a front wall. We were able to actually fit some more material in there. And now we've reached the point where it's as full as we can get it. The good news there is the way the weather has gone, it looks like we may be able to start hauling cake, hopefully in April, if it continues to cooperate. I've been in contact with our contractor, and April is a perfect time for him, and we're hoping that we can go and get that cleaned out sometime in mid-April.
Mark, what were your typical percent solids for your cake storage? You know?
It's about 14.5%.
Oh.
As it sits over through the winter, it obviously some of the moisture comes out of it, but coming off the belt filter press, it's generally 14.5 to 15, where most treatment plants, you can get up close to 20%. One of the problems we have is we have biological phosphorus removal. And what the industry has found, that type of treatment has a negative impact on belt filter press operation. So that's something we're hoping to alleviate in the future by adding that ferric chloride to the digester to strip out some of that phosphorus, to bind it up. That should help us get a better percent solids in the future.
Okay.
Truck to wastewater, it's the usual people. We had almost $5,000 in revenue. Dan's been working on training in the new employees with the Lucidity maintenance software, and we're chipping away at our maintenance. And then one of our digester recirculation pumps needs to be rebuilt. So I just authorized the ordering of the parts for that.
Okay.
We have one staff member on leave right now, leave of absence. He just had a new baby. So he should be back to work next week.
Okay. I do have a question about how many employees do you have down there total?
We have five operators and one mechanic, one lab technician, and then myself and Pam.
Okay. And how did your 6 employees get vaccinated?
Well, we were all over 50, the 6 that got vaccinated, and I had gotten it through the fire department. So the rest of them last week signed up on the Marquette County website. And as you sign up on that, there's a box you click if you're a critical employee. If you fall in the critical infrastructure employee category. So if you click on that, you get basically put to the front of the line. So if you go to the CDC recommendation on what a critical infrastructure employee is, there's quite a few different categories there, which includes water, wastewater, financial.
My staff did that as well, and we still haven't been called. Lenny, has yours been vaccinated or had a chance
we had one because he was over the age. We just got an email today about the essential workers. So I think it's basically just one. And then we also had one member he's kind of works with their crew. He's a member of the fire department, so he was vaccinated as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Brad, one of the employees at the water plant called the health department, and she advised that if you're 50 and older and you're an essential worker, if you click that box, you will get put to the front of the line. And almost the 5 of them that signed up last week, I think every one of them were either called later that day or the next day to get it the following day.
And that was through the health department, hey?
Right, their website's a little bit confusing, I guess I'd say. But yeah, it's there. There's a registration form, you fill it out, you click the box.
Okay.
And it was a very streamlined process.
Yeah, they have it down they have it down pretty good now, moving people through. They give you a time to show up. You show up 15 minutes before, you get it, you have to hang around for 15 minutes and then you go.
So Brad, I signed up 2 weeks ago because I'm over 50 and I didn't check essential. In fact, I wasn't checking off any of the boxes. So I fully expected to be the very last person to be selected, but I got an email yesterday and it worked really smooth. They gave me a list of dates and times they had available. And so I'm getting vaccinated later today, supposedly. And the process worked really well. And I guess if you're clicking off essential, I'm not sure why you wouldn't have been contacted. Maybe you want to call them, but like I said, it took 2 weeks for them to contact me, and I didn't list essential or anything like that. So.
Okay. I will check into that some more then. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah, the email that
Thank
we
you.
did receive here today, I think they pretty much, you have to make sure you click off on that essential link.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else for the operations?
Mark, did you make any progress with the city engineer about those nets to go on the stormwater exit drains? Remember I
No,
sent
I
you-
had passed that in. Yeah, I passed that information along to him, and he had
Mhm.
mentioned that they use those on some construction projects, and it looked interesting, and that he would look into it, but I haven't talked to him since.
What I'm talking about here, gentlemen, is there's a series of pictures from Australia where a municipality routinely puts nets on their stormwater outflow, and it showed these nets absolutely full of garbage. And I looked at that, sent the pictures over to Mark saying, is this the sort of thing we could try in Marquette? And he's looking into it.
Yeah, that's gonna fall under the, basically the Public Works Department, and more importantly, the engineering department makes those kind of decisions. But yeah, he said he would look into it. It looked interesting, is what he told me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
That's
Anything
all I
else?
had.
Okay, let's move on to new business.
I apologize for sending the wrong JCI report. I have it on the different files on my computer, and I obviously clicked the wrong one when I gave it to Pam. So I noticed that mistake this morning. Did you all get the new updated report, the newest report?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you go to page 20, like I said, 20 and 21 were the key pages. On page 20, you look under wastewater treatment plant, what they have gone through their measured values, they're showing a savings of $209,911. And on page 21, that's more specific, to the different equipment. You can see combined heat and power on there. Now, looking back at our budget last year, our TELP payment was, I'm losing home, I got too much paperwork in front of me. Our TELP payment last year was $134,390. And I look back in our maintenance cost for the gas conditioning skid, for the media, all of that material, and the maintenance on the units came to $73,368. So we spent $207,758 on our budget last year, and the savings are showing $209,000. So I'm not a financial person, but just looking at the numbers in the budget, it's showing what they promised, that the savings from the energy would cover the cost of expenses, which includes the payment for the lease. Now, what I intend on doing, because I anticipate there's probably going to be some questions, I've reached out to Eric Steeman, our facility director, and he's going to contact JCI, and we're going to see if we can get them to come to the next meeting and answer any questions the board has, if the board would like that.
Well, it sounds to me that right now we're basically, between the savings and the costs, we're $2,000 ahead. If we hadn't done this project, we'd be $400,000 out of money in terms of there would have been no savings.
There would have been no savings, correct. Also, we did do some upgrades to the treatment plant that we were planning on doing anyways that needed to get done.
Mhm.
And at the time I was the supervisor, and the other improvements besides the whole cogen part were a huge help to me operationally, because there were bottlenecks we had. that caused us issues.
Now, will this report be given to the city commission for them to discuss?
Yeah, it was sent to the city commission.
Okay,
And I believe it's supposed to be put on the city website. I don't know if it's on there yet or not.
okay. I'll let you know when I
And
see it there.
we will get a report every year from them. Now, Harold did send me some questions specific to this project, you know, focusing more in on the cogen units. And I cleared it with Brad, that it was okay, and included it for all the board members for this meeting. So I don't know if we want to get into some of that. Harold, you got it?
Say it again, Mark. You included what?
Well, I'm just saying your questions that you had for me. You know, I have some answers for you.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to bring it to the board before I, you know, answered your questions and gave you the numbers that I've come up with.
I'd like to hear the questions and answers.
Well, can you just email it to us? Or is
I
it,
can do that.
I mean, you could email.
Well, I think we should
you
probably
could
talk a
email
little
the
bit
copy
about
of
it.
The questions with the answers if you want.
Okay, the questions were in the board packet.
They were?
Yes.
I didn't see it. You know what page that was?
I thought I saw them in there. What's that, Ben? You didn't, they're not in there?
No, I don't.
Oh, maybe they didn't make the board packet.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had
I will email them to
basic
you.
questions
I
regarding
apologize.
the cogen system. So anyways, yeah, if you could do that, that would be fine.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything else there?
I guess I need to know, are you guys, do you want JCI to come and do a presentation on this, or you want to hold off on that?
I don't, well, my personal opinion is I don't know what good it's gonna do. What kind of information they're gonna give us that is, that we can
Well,
work with, I
you know,
guess.
I think this is such a big project that covered the entire city and we were a slice of it. It can get kind of confusing on, you know, on how it's all explained and how it all works. I have a hard time understanding it, to be honest with you. I just try to focus on what's going on here, what I'm responsible for.
I would like to invite them,
It's a
not
complex
on
project.
not on an emergency basis. It doesn't have to be next month. But I'd like to invite them by the end of the summer to come up and go through this report. So we have a chance, we'll go through Harold's questions and the answers you gave him. But this JCI project is multi-year and multi-system impact. And I remember when I first started on the wastewater board, the difficulty in communicating with these guys was at every meeting discussion. So I agree with Mark that having them come in and explain it from their perspective, just wastewater, just what they're doing here, and see how they feel about how it's going would be of value. I mean, I would be willing to sit through 20, 25 minutes of them talking.
Well, I think it would be more beneficial for the board, you know, to digest the information, maybe come up with some questions.
Okay.
You know, they've given a presentation before to the board on how this project works and how the wastewater side of it works. And I thought that went over well when they did it,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a number of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring them in, Mark.
Okay, well, let me talk to Eric. I'll see what he says, how their schedule works, if they're going to be able to make it for the next meeting. If that doesn't work, maybe we'll hold it in a future meeting. But we can get them here.
Okay.
They're willing to come anytime, I think, and you know, make their presentation and answer any questions you have.
If nothing else, they should know that we read their reports and we have questions.
Right.
Hey, Mark, it's Gary. I think it might just be helpful if, and maybe just periodically, maybe quarterly or semi-annual or something, if somebody from JCI could just reassure the board everything is working as intended, or maybe if something isn't working as intended, this is what they're doing to correct it. I don't care about all the nitty-gritty engineering stuff. Apologies to Harold and any other engineers. I just get lost in all of that stuff, but I just think overall, if they could just kind of reassure us that things are working as intended, then I think that would help. So.
To talk on that, they're constantly watching our savings. And if something is out of whack, or they start seeing something is trending the wrong way, you know, they will pick up the phone and call us. So, you know, if as things are going along, if we're not hearing from them, things are going well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I can talk to Eric about that also.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it then? For that?
I'm all set.
Harold, now that we got better communications, the questions you had on the Vector pad, what we're going to do is at the very end of it, we're going to do a saw cut, make a new area there with a pipe that's going to, a perforated pipe that's going to come up. And then they're going to fill in the current Vector pad because it's angled to the center.
Yep.
We're going to angle it, everything down. So we're going to drop everything on the one end. The water will run down towards that pipe and the sand will settle out before it gets into that lift station that we have there.
Okay.
That's causing us all kinds of problems. So we had our entire staff sit down with the engineers, and this is the best solution that we came up with.
Yeah, I remember that being a problem ever since it was constructed. It was just, it's how do you dump that stuff in and filter it, yet not clog the filtrate. That was the problem.
Exactly. Yep. So it'll be something we'll be happy to fix for sure.
So right now it's going to run to the end. It's sloped towards the far end.
Yeah. You know, I think our plan
sideways
would,
into that side chamber.
yes, and that's where that perforated raised pipe will be.
Is there anything that's
So
going to be in that on that concrete pad at all? Is there going to be any gravel, or are you just going to be a bare concrete tank basically?
It's just going to be concrete.
Okay.
So hopefully most of the material will settle out at the front end.
Yep.
And then we can push that back with the front end loader, keeping it away from where that pipe is. And then, you know, haul it to the landfill as needed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's an attempt. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but it looks like a good attempt.
I think it'll be better than what we have. It may be a little bit maintenance as far as, you know, being more diligent on keeping the sand off that perforated pipe.
Yeah.
But right now we're
enough?
really doing nothing. What's that?
Charge enough for all the nuisance that it causes us at the plant?
Charging who?
Well, doesn't MDOT come in here and dump?
Well, no, they were dumping so much material, we were putting it in our solids handling structure.
So who uses it then? Just the city crews?
The city, just for their sanitary. They don't bring any stormwater here anymore.
Okay.
Their storm sand.
So it's
All
just
that
back
goes
through
to-
from a
they haul
sewer
away to
thing,
themselves.
stuff like that?
It's that and just miscellaneous contractors like Tunnel Vision.
Okay.
They'll come down once in a while. And then it's us ourselves.
Yep.
You know, if we factor out something from our lift stations or here.
Yep.
And then we charge for that.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
Is there any other questions for Mark? All right, hearing none, let's move on to public comment. Was there any public comment there? Hearing none of that, let's go to board member comment. Since I can't really see anybody, let's start with Harold.
Mark, is it, when are you going to be able to get those answers, I guess, to those questions I have?
I can probably get them to you later today.
Okay, sounds good.
We got another meeting later, but I should be able to.
That's fine.
I have all
Today
the
or tomorrow.
information. Okay.
Was that it, Harold?
Yep.
Okay, Margaret.
We've already discussed briefly the idea of the nets on the stormwater pipes that Mark is gonna follow up on. In terms of PFAS, the state marked 1 year of monitoring it. Based on the emails I see from the state government office that they send out 5 or 6 a day, the PFAS monitoring in the state of Michigan is an ongoing project that will continue. And that was it for that was it for the month.
Okay, thank you. Lemmy.
I have nothing.
Okay, did I miss anybody there? Okay, hearing none, I don't have anything, so let's adjourn. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for adjournment, and Pam, note the time. I've got 10:42 a.m.
This is Harold. I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
See you next
Randy.
month.
Bye, thank you.
See ya.